What's up, YouTube? It is officially 8 weeks out, and I love this time because 2 months seems like a lot to most people, but when you're in bodybuilding prep, it goes really, really quickly. So we are on what I feel like is the downward slide into show, and of course my face is looking really thin. Things are really starting to change. We did have a little hiccup with macro breakdown, and I was on lower fats and my carbs were a little higher, which I think works for a lot of people. But for some reason for me, the lower fats really mess with me. So I was getting really, really fatigued in the afternoon to where I was actually falling asleep and not able to work and things like that. So we switched it up, took some carbs away, added fats back in, and I feel so much better. So I think that's a testament to, learning about your body during this process and, really dialing in to what works for you. And it doesn't necessarily, work for somebody else because everybody's different. And calories are really low, and if I was in a lifestyle space, I wouldn't eat like this. I would eat all the carbohydrates because I would have a more balanced breakdown with fats and carbs. But we're trying to get to a very low percentage of body fat, and that is not normal for regular people. So please take this with a grain of salt. Just because I'm doing it doesn't mean you need to do it. Cardio really hasn't changed all that much. It is taking my body a couple of weeks to adjust to cardio changes and nutrition changes at this point. So I really feel good this week. So I feel like maybe she'll make another adjustment. But that being said, she said we would start incorporating some carb refeeds where we needed to. And so I prefer that kind of, I think, approach better than what we were doing before. So yeah, that's where we're at. So at 8 weeks, I tend to kind of tighten things up a little bit more as far as sugar-free items go, because those can cause bloating and inflammation. Again, in real life setting, I love my sugar-free items, my sugar-free coffee syrups, sugar-free drinks, sugar-free sauces on my foods. So, lifestyle space, those are perfectly okay. They're not going to cause, obviously you need to be mindful and listen to your body. And if you feel, inflamed or, bloated, those are some of the things that you can look at to see, how much you're consuming really. And, what specific sugar-free additive, some people are more sensitive to mannitol. But I would say overall sucralose is the main one used in a lot of your sugar-free items. So just reading your labels and learning about what goes into the food that you're consuming, especially when it's a processed food. And so, whole foods, I describe those as God-made foods. So my diet is all whole foods at this point. And that is just because I want you guys to think about your car, and you put gas in it. That high test gas is obviously going to make your car run the best. It's going to function the best on the high test gas, all these things. Mid-grade, it's going to be, good still, but not the highest functioning. And then the lower grade, still functioning, but, not functioning at its highest level. So if you think about food like that in those terms, I think that's a good balanced way to look at, the food that you're consuming. You don't need to be so strict with I got to eat all whole foods all the time. And you shouldn't be on the other end of the spectrum where you're consuming mostly processed items or sugar-free items, stuff like that. So I always tell my clients, assess your food logs. And that's one of the reasons, that we do log our food is so you can look back and see where you can make improvements. If you're not... A lot of times when you're just eating intuitively, it's out of sight, out of mind. You don't have to face, what you're putting in yourself sometimes. So logging it and tracking it and weighing it is important because it teaches you not only portion sizes, but also like your specific, you know, foods that you like to consume and where can you make adjustments. There's always places to improve. So that is how, you know, went on a kind of off on a nutrition side train there. But yeah, so that's where I'm at 8 weeks. I will also start posing every single day because posing is just important as anything else that I'm doing. Actually, I think it's more important than, you know, obviously you got to get in the gym, lift your weights, you got to do your cardio, you got to get out for walks, you got to eat good. But posing is literally the only thing that you can control on show day. You know, the judging is subjective. It's that judge's opinion. It's also who looks the best at that moment that you're on stage for like 10 minutes. So it's literally out of your hands at that point. The only thing that you can control is how you present what you've got. And so posing is like huge. And the more you can practice it, the more it will become second nature on stage. So that's kind of where 8 week mark does for me. And then, you know, I have, you know, 4 weeks, I have different things and, you know, this, that, and the other, that always continuing to try to tighten up throughout the process and get better and better as we go along. But hoping that I'm in a good position and hoping that I'll be ready early so we can feed a little bit up into show. And I think that, you know, I've been saying that all along. I think it'll make me look a little bit better. And I won't be so depleted going into show day and like ready to eat. So yeah, but I'm really super focused this time. And my reverse diet is very important to me this go around because I did have a rebound and I did jack up my hormones. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I got some labs drawn and whoo, your girl has like no estrogen, which is not surprising, but it was a little shocking to see on the lab work. Doctor said she's not really worried about it. It's kind of normal for prep and it's pretty low, but you know, I think the adjustments in fats will help that. So, you know, we'll see where I'm at. She said she didn't want to redraw until after show. So that'll be like the end of July-ish. We'll see where I'm at then. And then after the reverse diet, I do kind of feel like I'm probably will be, you know, reversed back out and a normal person, hopefully by my birthday, which is November 2nd. So, you know, think about that, guys. Like, if you're interested in competing, you really have to dedicate quite a bit of time. It's not just, you know, the 12, 16, 20 week prep that you're doing. It's all the stuff that, you know, follows after the show that is important too. And that goes with like any competition that you're doing, like whether you're running a marathon or, you know, anything else. I've got a client now that's getting ready to do half Ironman. And so our approach, you know, post race is super important for her, you know, if she wants to continue competing, and she does. So we need to make sure that we are, you know, post race still acting like an athlete and still eating like an athlete and all that. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Lots of information, and I'll touch base with you guys in a couple weeks.